Hey amigos, Vention here. I was just I was just reading a comment from a guy named MrIJB89, I believe, and he was asking to see more gardening videos, but that's not really the point of this channel. This channel is all about mostly like MRA and MGTOW issues that, especially in this feminist matriarchy that we live in, that really affect guys disproportionately to everybody else. And sometimes I have my garden on the video, which is kind of cool, like, because I enjoy it. But that's not really the main deal. But for far longer than I've had a MGTOW channel, I've also had a Preparedness channel, which is, I'll leave a link to it. And basically, I've probably had that channel since like 2007. And it's all about preparing for economic turbulence and trying to increase the stability of your life. And one of the big things, as I keep harping on, is to have a little bit of real estate of your own, as debt-free as possible, and have it produce something that you can eat. I mean, even if you are an apartment dweller and you are, as I was just last August, if you're an apartment dweller and you have a patio, as I had when I lived in that condo, you can still grow something. For example, see these 3 planters I have out on my deck here? I could probably get several salads out of that. A couple more over there. It's about time to start cutting that. But anyway, I had like, 2.5 times that number of planters out on the back deck of my condo while I lived there, and I've been sort of expanding out to the main part of the yard rather than a patio garden like this. Just mainly out of habit, I just grabbed them and threw some compost in and seeds a couple months ago, and that's what I got. Mainly I'm going to be expanding out to there. But anyway, he was also asking how I got skilled at basically, wow, look at that steam. Man, this compost tumbler is, can you even see that? Jeez, this thing is really working. I borrowed my my temperature probe that I use for air conditioning work. Hopefully I don't drop it. I'm just kind of curious what the temperature is of these things. Okay, we're up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, 116. I loaded, I got it about maybe a little over half full about 3 days ago, and it's really starting to compost. 117 degrees. They say that if it reaches like 160 degrees, that's like the maximum you want it. 117.7 degrees. Cool. Yeah. But anyway, he was also asking how I got so handy with work, with gardening and things like that, and that's kind of a little bit of a longer story. Basically, I had a garden, or my dad liked to garden when I was a kid, and basically when my mom ass-launched him out of the family when I was around 13, that was one of my most important lessons, and that is that women have a nasty habit of booting your ass out of your own home. But anyway, when that happened, I took over the garden and got a bunch of nice crops in, and I missed it all during the time I was in the Army. I missed it during the times I was in the apartment houses, and then I missed it while I was in the condo, and I didn't really feel like gardening enough to actually, start doing it for no reason. But then in 2007, I got a scare, and that was I looked at all the economic signs, and I saw this giant wall of chaos headed our way. That was 2007. Freaked me out. From what I saw, it looked like, we were going to have cascading bank failures and freaking companies and corporations just dying one after another, man. It looked real bad. So that's one of the reasons why I basically, restarted my gardening. I bought some books and surfed a bunch of websites on how to garden, and built a patio garden. I think I still have those YouTube videos in my Prepper channel, and basically I wanted to get some practice in and learn some theory, because if the economy really started going downhill, as I suspected that it would, anybody who knew how to grow food might very well have a job if everything else fails. As a diesel mechanic, I would probably not be an actual gardener. I probably would be more valuable as a mechanic. I'd be fixing the trucks that would be coming in from the fields, and picking up people to go out and work on the fields for 14 hours and then come back. I would probably be doing that, and everybody would be dirt poor. I had no idea that the feds could print so much money and just paper over the whole 2008 financial crisis. So I was frantically studying gardening and buying wheat, and I really went hot and heavy into being a prepper, and I was a fear-based prepper at the time. I didn't really understand how the prepper lifestyle gives you it's just a better way to live, even if there's no disaster at all. I didn't understand that. All I wanted to do was just cushion the disaster as much as I could. So that's why I was really into gardening, and I started studying permaculture a few years later, like 2009, maybe 10, something like that. And permaculture, man, that is the way to go. You can just do amazing things with it. And if you're into gardening at all, or even if you're not, man, I suggest that you just punch up a few videos on permaculture, like Jeff Lawton's Greening the Desert. That video was just an amazing thing. But anyway, I spent probably from 2007 all the way to 2012, when I finally moved out, sitting in a condo reading gardening books and looking at gardening videos and permaculture videos on YouTube, and downloading through torrents and whatnot any video or movie that I could find on permaculture, and it really paid off. I have learned just tremendous ways to create food and other useful things for yourself with almost no maintenance. It's like a way of gardening that produces tremendous results, and once you get the systems established, it almost runs itself. And that's why, I mean, man, if you're even into gardening a little bit, man, look at permaculture. Look what it can do for you, because it's an amazing thing. So, where did I learn all? Part of where I learned some of this stuff is just by being a mechanic. You know, anybody who's a mechanic, decent with tools, he can fix things around a house like this. You know, most guys have got tools. Whoops. Oh, good. I thought I shut the video off. Anyway, so it's most guys are fairly hands-on oriented, and if you're not, I suggest you start getting some hand tools and start learning, because and if you're not, I don't know, maybe you could volunteer for like Habitat for Humanity or something. You could learn a lot from places like that. And then once you get your own place, I mean, my poor neighbor right across over there, he's an apartment guy. He lived in an apartment all his life practically, and then he bought the house, and man, they live in the house as if it's an apartment still, and every once in a while you see the guy step out on his deck and look with just hopeless despair at his yard because he is not doing very well. He should still be living in a condo or something, but well, what can I say? So basically, I learned all about this stuff as a kid. I learned that I like gardening, and then the scare, the financial terror that I saw in 2008, when it really looked like one bank after another would be collapse, and everybody'd be unemployed, and it would be like a Argentina collapse, or maybe not as bad as Zimbabwe, or possibly a Weimar Republic level of collapse. That's what it looked like. And I was not prepared for the financial shenanigans and printed money and just creating debt and just loading it on the taxpayer and bailing out the corporations. I had no clue that they would go that far. So what they've done is they've made the problem like exponentially worse. And the next time we have a big financial problem, it's going to be a good deal worse, it looks like. So that's one of the reasons why I remain a prepper, although it's a better way to live. It's also very important, I think, especially for a guy, because nobody gives a rip whether we live or die, whether we're homeless, anything. So we have got to look out for ourselves. So the prepper lifestyle, I mean, that's just the way to go. So I find it interesting that in the past, the people who were into preparedness, they were more like grabbing guns and wearing camo and doing drills out in the national forest, and the permaculture people were like lefty hippies and whatnot, and they all wanted to hold hands and do drum circles and do humming things and whatnot, and they all go om. But then I see the two groups moving closer together. You hear so many survivalists these days saying permaculture, because it makes so much sense and it's so productive. And then nowadays you're starting to hear a lot of permaculture people talking about SHTF, the shit hitting the fan. So it's interesting how the two separate cultures are like coming together. But anyway, so that's where I learned it. Learned all this stuff. I learned it because I enjoyed gardening as a kid, and then I got a little shot of fear in 2007. I did manage to save all my mutual funds, and I pulled it all out of the market before the freaking thing dove into the dirt. So I did something there, converted a significant amount of it to precious metals and all that. But But basically, then it's that fear that caused me to really start getting into gardening again. And then, man, the fire just lit. I mean, I had to get a place. I had to. So every month over at that condo, I'd be sending like hundreds extra every month to the mortgage. Sometimes a thousand or so a month extra. I would work overtime, and every once in a while, since I get paid every other week, twice a year, you get a 3-paycheck month. I would send the third paycheck off to that mortgage, and then I got it down to like $10,000, and man, I was so excited, and I worked overtime, and I busted my butt, and then finally in 2012, I paid it off. Paying off your home is just an amazing thing. And then I just had to get a place. I had to get a place where I could garden. So I was shopping for about 7 months before I found this place. And I am happy. So pretty much that's how it happened. Later.